Hello, my name is Tamara Viviano, and I'm here today because I believe that abortion is entirely wrong. And I would like for you, as an American, as a woman, as a man, as a human being, to really think about the decisions that we're making today. And I would like to persuade you into believing that abortion is wrong. So many people have their own opinions of what abortion, when it's justifiable and when it's not, and when someone's wrong and someone's right. But what is the fine line between who's right and who's wrong? Well, the bottom line is that it is a human life that we are talking about. It's not just a thing or it's not a life until it's this many months, along. The bottom line is that baby becomes life from the time of conception. And these are things that we really need to consider and just not take it lightly. Far too many women have abortions every day, and they are never informed on what procedures are going to take place, the emotional outcome, the physical aspects of what will take place. And that's what I would like to share with you today. Once I had a friend who came to me in desperate need. She was broken, she was crying, she was upset, all because her boyfriend decided that he didn't want a baby, and she found out she was pregnant. She didn't know what she was going to do. She was in the military. She was about to separate from the military. And she said, how on earth can I afford to take care of this baby? And she came to me and asked me what I thought. And she said, I've already set up an appointment, and I'm going to have an abortion. As a Christian believer, which is what she was, she said, God already knows what I'm going to do before I do it, right? So it's okay. I said, that's an absolute lie that you're telling yourself. God gave you free will, and He gave you the right to make a decision on what you were going to do. Can He stop you? He could. But He gave you free will as an individual to make a decision on what you're going to do. And as I began to talk to her, I'm like, how you made one mistake, why would you turn around and make another mistake that you're going to have to carry with you for the rest of your life? And as you grow and you remarry one day and you have kids and you look at that child that you currently have and you begin to think of the baby that you aborted, and you can never get past that. You'll be thinking to yourself 5 years later, my baby that I first aborted would have been 5 now. And you can't go back and change it. You made a decision to keep the next child that you had. Or, as some women that I met while I was serving in the Navy, they just continue repeatedly having abortion after abortion. All in a cause to keep a career. But one day they're going to look back on those things and they're going to realize that it was the biggest mistake of their life. You have to always count the cost, no matter what you're doing, no matter what you set out to do, whether it be this or that. But I'm here today because I don't want to see countless number of men and women continue to make the same decision. I want you to see life in a different perspective. And that way I want to persuade you from making the same mistake that others have made time after time. I like to begin with the methods of abortion. The first method of abortion that I would like to cover is suction. And that is when they take a vacuum-like object and they basically suck the baby's body parts out of the mother's insides. As it begins to, I want you to get a mental picture of what I'm talking about, because it just sounds like a little quick procedure, and that's how a lot of people perceive it. But that's not in fact what it is. They take a vacuum-like object that is 29 times stronger than a vacuum cleaner, and they suck out those body parts into a bottle. And as it sucks, it begins to jerk over and over again until each body part is out and removed. And then they take a knife-like object and cut the placenta out of the woman's body. This is the most common form of abortion. It's incomprehensible. And I, as a woman, would never want to experience that, or have a sister or a brother or just a friend to have to experience that. The second method that I would like to cover is called dilation and evacuation, and that's usually performed between 4 to 6 months. This method has replaced chemical abortions. The reason for that is because chemical abortions were resulting in too many live births, which became an issue for abortionists, and it became a problem for them, so they found another method. And this method is when they take a plier-like object and they begin to pull the body parts off of the baby. Begin to pull a leg, begin to pull the arm. And as they begin to pull these body parts out, the baby is feeling this pain. Can you imagine a 4-month-old baby in the wound? They use no anesthetic for the baby, and babies do feel pain in the womb. There's scientific research to back that up. Then as they pull the body parts off, one by one, once that procedure is done, the nurse's responsibility is to put all those body parts together to make sure that every piece is accounted for and that they didn't leave anything inside the mother's wound. I realize that my description is very graphic and very detailed, but I would like for you to see that it's not as simple as people make it seem. Oh, it's not a big deal. Why do people make such a big deal out of it? It's a very big deal. That baby is ripped literally apart from limb to limb. I won't bring in pictures and show you pictures, but I want you to think about it. The things that I have said to you today is really, really think about how they rip apart that baby's body. As I begin to think more and more about this each and every day, as I look at my beautiful daughter, I'm like, how in the world can people do this to their children? It's your child. Since Roe versus Wade and abortion became legalized in 1973, more than 50 million abortions have taken place. Now that is a very haunting thought to think of. And as I began to think, I was like, who in the world would want to die that way? I wouldn't, and let alone an innocent baby who had nothing to do with the circumstances that had taken place. Please, I beg of you, anyone who's listening to this, anyone who sees this, hears this message, just out of curiosity, you're thinking of it, I cry out to you so desperately, do not make that mistake, because it's one that you will carry long after the baby is gone. You will continue to keep those scars. There have been links to breast cancer and abortion. There have been so many side effects. They have a disorder that they call POS, which is post-abortion syndrome. And most women continue to have future abortions, and depression and alcoholism, and they abuse drugs. There are so many outcomes, and these women really receive no type of counseling after having this. They just have the abortion and they leave, and it's so scary. I think of people like Jesse Jackson and Langston Hughes and Nelson Mandela. These were all men who were adopted into families. Now, their parents could have had abortions. They could have had their babies killed, but they didn't. And look at the impact that these men have made on the world today. I believe firmly that we do not have the power to create life. So why should we have the power to take it away? It's a burden that's too big for any person to have to carry on their shoulders for the rest of their life. And I hope today that through hearing this message, that it will change your opinion on abortion. Thank you.